All right, well, congratulations. You are on our short list, which is great because we only have like 3, sometimes we carry 4 people on our short list. So this in this next round, I'm going to ask you to do a Loom response back to me. And, part of the purpose here is this is actually how we communicate to each other quite often. Our team is all over the world, various time zones, etc. And so we rely heavily on what's considered in remote world asynchronous communication. We're not communicating to each other live in real time. We try to reduce the need for meetings and calls. Of course, we have those as well. But when we don't need those, then we rely on other sorts of systems. So Loom is one of those systems that we use. And so basically, what we typically do is, we have some kind of visual that we're screen sharing, and then we are communicating or presenting what that visual is, adding additional context, additional detail, further explanation, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So before I give you these couple of questions, I want to communicate something very important about our culture as a team, and really to set the expectations here. And that is that even though that this business, or really it's this collection of businesses, has been around for 15 years, and there's been times where we've had huge teams, 100 people teams, we always maintain that small team mentality, that small team perspective, and the startup perspective. Because this is what really radiates or encaptures the entrepreneurial spirit, which has ultimately been the key to our success. And so in alignment with that, it means that even our leadership roles, even the CEO, will often find themselves in executionary roles, even really small tasks. Sometimes it means instead of delegation, et cetera, it means just get the job done. If it needs to get done, just get it done. And so in alignment with that, this, one more thing to help with expectations and perspective is we have a general rule of thumb. This might be an American expression. We have a general rule that's, can be broken if it makes sense to break the rule. But a general rule is that when it comes to the warehouse, if something can be done remotely, if something can be done outside of the warehouse, then it ought to be done remotely. Because we want our team here to be doing the things that can only be done here. The warehouse operations, the manufacturing, the fulfillment, the receiving, the dispatch. So a huge part of this role, whether it's in support or leadership or whatever, is maintaining that perspective. If something can be done remotely, then it ought to be done remotely. And so question number 1 is I just discovered that one of our little issues that we're having here at the warehouse is that when we put our receiving labels or our inventory labels on our inventory, on our boxes of materials or whatever, we have these templates, and we're handwriting, filling them out. Part IDs, quantity, expiration date, etc. And very often, other folks can't read the handwriting. In fact, sometimes even the person that wrote it can't read their own handwriting. And that's small little issue has created some really massive and really expensive problems for us. And so, solution to that problem is I just bought us a label tape machine so we can print little labels instead of handwriting. And one of these innovative solutions for if something can be done remotely, then it ought to be done remotely, is I bought a label machine that can have files uploaded to it so that we can remotely create the labels and then print them off on this little machine. And obviously, we would use this intelligently, where if we're just needing to create a label for one box, then the person here at the warehouse would just whip up and create the label. But for example, right now, we're going to be doing hundreds of boxes. And so it will make sense for us to create these labels remotely. So here is the label machine I just bought. It is I guess this is probably gonna show up backwards, but oops. Brother D610BT is the model. And so I'm asking you to create basically like a basic SOP and tutorial for teaching our team here how to receive a file that you're going to create and then print on the label machine. And so I'm going to ask you to go ahead and create a file and just make up something super basic and super easy to print off and send it to us. And so we will actually get it into the machine and go through the entire process where one of our team members here will then go and print it. And I know this is super basic, but this is the kind of stuff that we will need to be able to achieve. So we will need for you to be the intelligence, the researcher, the troubleshooter, etc., and the teacher, even for small little things like this, because we don't want our team here to have to take that time to learn the new device and read through the directions and learn how it works. We want our leadership and our support remotely to do that, and then make it very concise and very easy for our team here to learn what they need to do and then to be able to do it. So, and for now, I'm going to ask you to do it in English, but do understand that, basically in the future you would be doing, especially for SOP creation or tutorials, you would be doing an English version and a Spanish version. But for now, you're communicating to me. And so let's just go ahead and do, actually, you know what? Scratch that. We're going to actually go through the whole thing. So I'm going to have you connected to the person that's actually going to be doing this. So, yep, go ahead and do it in Spanish, please. All right, so that's question number one. Question number two is problem solving. So another issue that we've had is some of our suppliers, this is not, given all the materials that we stock here, this is not super common, but there are some materials in which we have suppliers that, let's say we order 1,000 units, or actually let's say 10,000 units. And let's say it's bottles. And we receive that purchase order of 10,000 bottles, and it might be allocated into 10 different boxes. Well, we have a situation in which at least a couple of our suppliers are not putting like a consistent quantity in each box. Now, in one situation, they're at least labeling the quantity. They're marking the box with the quantity of bottles in each box. But we do have at least one supplier that was just brought to my attention that they don't even do that. So that creates a couple difficulties. One is we are not able to confirm easily, or I shouldn't say we're not able to. The team is not confirming the count. They're just trusting the supplier, which is bad. And then, we put all the boxes on our shelves, on our racks, and we, occasionally, right now we're supposed to be doing weekly inventory audits, which I know is extreme, but we're having problems here. So for now, we need to do weekly until we get it right. Which, by the way, I did a video for you, but it's a long video and it's going to provide a lot more context for this role. So I decided to do this video first, and I actually provide a lot more context, but it's long. So if you're actually eager for that video, then let me know and I'll go ahead and get it to you. I'm actually kind of forgetting in my head that you're going to be watching this in a different order. So let me just go ahead and really quickly tell you that I am not normally here working at the warehouse. In fact, I don't even live in Tampa, Florida. But I came here last week in order to basically overhaul our entire supply chain systems. But most notably is the warehouse, our manufacturing facility. And so I am basically auditing everything. And we are revamping everything. And I'm quite skilled, I'm quite knowledgeable in what ought to exist and how we can do things. I've built and run much larger facilities than this for previous businesses that I've owned. But your role is to really help alleviate and take a lot off my plate. But ultimately, I'm going to be here for the rest of the year. And when I leave, the idea is that, the warehouse especially, but really the entire supply chain is going to be fully autonomous without me. And you're going to be a big part of that. So anyway, sorry for that little side story, but it's important for you to understand that I am coming here and uncovering a lot of the problems that we need to solve. And so as a support person, you would be essentially just listening to the systems that I've conceptualized or have curated, and you would be helping us fulfill those. As a leadership role, which no matter what, you're going to be starting in support, but you could move into leadership within a couple weeks, under a month. In fact, that's what I'm hoping. You would start in support and then move into leadership. And I am hoping that you would move into leadership very, very quickly. But anyway, so big side story. But anyway, so we're putting these boxes on the shelves. And then when we do our inventory audits, which right now we're going to be starting to do them weekly, which is very, very tedious to do it weekly, but that's what we need to do so we get things right. Well, we're just not able to count the inventory that's in all those boxes because it's again, I shouldn't say not able to, we're not doing it. So that's creating a big problem. So, I know the solution. We're going to be getting started on the solution. Although I would say there's probably a couple solutions. But I'm going to ask you to create a solution. Or perhaps it's I don't want to lead you here, but perhaps it's a couple of things that we would like to do, or at least maybe it's try to do things, and if it doesn't work, then we do this, or maybe there's multiple things that we do to improve this. Whatever it is, you get presented this problem, this issue. What is, so this is, this would be a leadership thing. What is your problem solving? So what is the solution? And then I'm not going to ask you to create SOP, for this. I don't want to burden you, honestly. But do understand that would be the role. You would create solution, you would create SOP, Spanish, English, if necessary, if applicable, video tutorial. You would, if necessary, KPIs, checklists, templates. This is the world. You are to be the brain, the intelligence. Not to say that people here aren't intelligent. That's not what I mean by the intelligence. I just mean you are the intelligence system. right? So yeah, make sure that that's well understood. We have very intelligent people here. We have doctors, we have lawyers, in fact, but because they are coming from other countries as immigrants to the United States, they are not doctors and lawyers here. So anyway, point is that, do this problem solving. Tell me the solution. And again, do this in Loom, please. So, if there's something for you to present, go ahead and create that, do the Loom presentation. And you can be, if you want to create an SOP or whatever, I'm not going to tell you not to do anything, but I will say it's not necessary. It's not necessary. I want to be mindful of your time in this application process. I know already these videos is something totally unique and they're long. The next one is even longer, but you're going to get a ton more context. And honestly, if it's not interesting for you to be watching me speak in video, if it's not creating curiosity for you, and if you're not able to start like visualizing more, look, we're not the right fit for you. We're not the right fit. We're not corporate-y. We are entrepreneur spirited. We are innovative. We are creative. We are crafty. We are, what's the word? Scrappy. That might not work well outside of American English, but we are not afraid of getting our hands dirty. We are diligent. We are efficient. We are effective. But it's really important to understand we are not corporate. We're not corporate at all. So there's some strengths about having a corporate culture, a corporate organization, but in my mind, there's a lot of weaknesses, and that's just not who we are. But we are a bit bureaucratic in our supply chain, which pains me. Bureaucracy, but we have to be. One, because we can't mess up. We can't make mistakes. When we're manufacturing foods, dietary supplements, stuff like that, we can't make mistakes. And two, we want to teach a lot of our team here all the different skills. And so we need good systems to make it easier to teach and also to confirm that they understand. And then the obvious thing is that we're heavily, well, I shouldn't say heavily, but we are regulated by the US government, multiple agencies, multiple departments. And so they are a bureaucracy and they force us into bureaucracy. So it is important that you have that capacity, and basically you can't have more disgust for bureaucracy than I personally have. I am the max. I am the max. And boy, do I hate it. I am a creative mind. I don't like to work inside of templates and stuff like that, but I do like to create them for others to work inside of. I think that's perhaps hypocritical. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. So anyway, that's 2 questions. And if you are eager, there is another round with one question. It's creating a system. So if you're really eager and you just want to make things happen fast, then let us know and I'll go ahead and get that out to you. But totally fair if you don't want to waste your time on that and you want to get feedback on this first. All right. Well, anyway, I appreciate your time watching this video. I appreciate your time working on these questions, these little mini projects. And super important, I personally am available for you to ask any questions for you to better understand the role or the business or me. Any questions for you to better understand what I'm asking you to do right here and right now. So feel free to ask. You'll be asking through Tiffany, our recruiting lead for now, so that she can gather everything and make it nice and efficient for me to respond. But ask whatever questions you want. I love this business. I love talking about it. I love fantasizing about the future. And, if you're the right fit, then you're going to love it too. All right. Thanks again for your time.